Hey guys, and welcome to Top Channel 101, and today we're going to be making a rope bridge that has physics. It's a procedural bridge that can be adjusted. You can add more collision bodies here, and you can see that that will change the collision. If I remove these, it will just drop. Now you can see it doesn't break all the way. The project files are going to be available on my Gumroad page, Patreon, and my YouTube membership page. If you like this type of videos, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and let me know in the comments. And you can also check out yesterday's video, which was about making a debris tool using geometry nodes. This is what we did. And a day before that, we made a traffic tool. I'm just showing you this to let you know what type of channel this is and the kind of the direction I'm taking this channel. We're going to be making more detailed tutorials like this, and tomorrow, if you turn on your notifications, you'll be able to see how we make this assemble tool using geometry nodes. You can also use it to assemble other objects like a house. Yeah, so that's our tutorial for tomorrow. So let's dive in and get started with the rope physics. These projects are going to be available on my Patreon. It's how I keep the channel alive, and I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has been a Patreon of mine. You all help keep the channel alive and keep on the lights, and anyone who has bought my project files on Gumroad, thank you, I really appreciate that. So let's look at how we can set up this rope bridge really quickly. We're going to use Blender's cloth system to drive the physics and then build the rope bridge on top of that. So I'm just going to add a plane. I'll subdivide this a few times. Every subdivision you have is going to be the different steps you're going to have in the bridge. Now you can select the end points, go to vertex data, add a new vertex group and assign. We can add a cloth modifier, hit play, and make sure under the shape you select the pin group we have just created. And now we have the physics. You can, if you want to make it sag more, you can increase the shrink setting, but let's put it at around negative point, something like that. Now let's go to geometry nodes. I'll set up a new geometry nodes. So the first thing we want to do is set up some supporting ropes. We're going to be using vertex groups a lot here. So I'm going to just come in here, select these edges, extrude up, and all I want is just the edges. So I'm going to select these faces, hit X, press X, and delete only faces so that I remain with these edges like this. And actually I don't want this here, and I can just fill this in using F. And just right click, subdivide this a bunch of times. Let's add 20 cuts. If you hit play, because these were extruded from these pin groups, they are also pinned vertices. So what I'm going to do is just select these minus that and remove them from that so that they also have physics on them. Those are going to be our ropes. If you want any ropes that are going down, you can just select two vertices like these, fill them in, that. Now you can also just grab these and subdivide them a few times to make the ropes behave more like a rope. And the other thing we need to do is make sure, have them selected, and just let's call them vertical ropes, assign, and select these top ones, call them hand ropes. That's what we have for the physics. Now we can start working on geometry nodes. First thing we want to do is isolate these ropes. So I'm going to first isolate these hand rope by grabbing an attribute, a named attribute, and we want the hand ropes. So what I can do is just delete at some points. Just bring this here. Yeah, one thing I don't like about geometry nodes sometimes is that when you are working in edit mode and you have geometry nodes, you may not see the vertices you're selecting. So what you can do is first remove this, and that way you can see the vertices. And now we can select, just make sure that I've selected all of these and assign it to the hand ropes. Now I can bring back our geometry nodes, and now we want the inverse of this, so I'll just use a Boolean math with the not operation. The physics is going to still be there, which is a great thing. And now I can create my rope. For the rope, we're going to first turn this into a curve, mesh to curve. Originally it's a mesh, so mesh to curve and then curve to mesh, so that we can add a profile. So the profile is just going to be a circle, a curved circle, just like that. And we can control the radius using a set radius. So I can make it like that. We need to twist this, and we need more than one single strand of this rope. So to make more, we're going to create another circle, just like this. Let's have 3 points, an instance on those points. And the instance we're going to use is this circle like that. It doesn't need to have all that resolution, so we can use something like that. And if I plug this into the profile, take a look at this. Are we getting an error? Because these are now instances, so we need to realize those instances. Now you can see we have our rope with more than one strand. I can change the radius here. I can even make more by just increasing the resolution here. Then we want to twist this rope, so I'll add a set curve tilt. This can rotate the rope, but if we bring in spline parameter, we can use its factor to twist, to change the angle according to the length. So we have, and if I use a math node just here and multiply the factor by a number, you can see we get as many twists as you want. We need more resolution, so I can resample the curve here. That way we have more resolution. Okay, we can maybe increase the radius, and we have some big boy ropes. Now what we have right now is enough to generate of the different ropes we want. So I'm just going to grab all of these, Control G to group them, and just call this a rope gen. So if I look at this, you can see I can just now expose the different parameters, like let's see, the turns. Let's call this twist. We also might want to adjust this radius, rope radius, and this can be the rope thickness. Another thing we could do is this resample curve might also come in handy, so I don't think we're going to need that. Make sure to save. So this is our rope generator. Now we can start looking for instances where we have other ropes. We have ropes. So another thing I need to do is expose this attribute, which is just a selector for the different ropes. So if I change that to the vertical ropes, actually let me just duplicate this and just use the vertical ropes, preview this, and you can see we have the vertical ropes. The turns might be a bit too many, so this is the, yeah, and remember all of these still have the physics, and now I just have to join these, and we have some ropes. Now we have our ground here. I think I deleted the wrong edges, so let me make sure they are filled in. Got the wireframe. Yeah, so like I said, if you want to make any changes to the mesh, you might have to first disable the geometry nodes. Let me name it ropes and make sure it is shielded so that we don't lose our setup. I can remove it for a second and just take a look at this and make some edits. Now let's work on the steps. So that's going to be this mesh without the ropes. So I'm going to just grab another named attribute. Let's create a vertex group for that. So I'm just going to select this. Let me first remove this so that I can see the vertices. Just select this and call these steps. Assign. You can go back, can bring back our geometry nodes, bring the steps. Take a look at this, and we can use a delete geometry This is going to be our selection, but we need the inverse of this, so I'll just use Boolean math with the operation of not, so we only remain with our planks. Now to turn these into planks, the first thing we're going to do, let's look at the wireframe. So this is our mesh. So the first thing we're going to do is split these faces so that each face is an individual face. Split edges, and we can scale elements to add gaps between these. So I don't want to add too much gaps, so something like that. Then we also want, because if we join these back to the original mesh, you can see that they are now smaller than what they were. So we can scale this again, but this time using a single axis, and we want, I think that's going to be the y-axis, so I can scale this on the axis to make them wider, just like that. I can give these some thickness using an extrude mesh. I don't want to be that thick. Yeah, just like that. If you want, you can just use a random value to randomize some of these so they are not the same thickness. If you look at down here, you see that we have a hole, so I'm just going to join back the original to the extruded, and we can close that gap. Then I can use a merge by distance, can remove this other one. If I look at my normals, you can see I need to flip the original to correct the normals. We have a bridge. Another thing we could do is just bring this rope here down here as well. And to do that, let's first again disable the rope so that we can make some selections. I'm going to select this edge and this edge and call this the step rope. Assign, come back here, just duplicate these. You can use Ctrl-Shift-D to duplicate this with all its attachments. And this time we're going to use just copy the step rope. And if you look at this, we run into a problem. Because this vertex group also includes the vertices connecting on the X, we are seeing that these vertices are also getting selected. Let me first reduce the turns to, can enter this group, and I can make sure that I'm only selecting the edges, because right now if I look at this is what we have. I only want the edges here. So to remove these middle edges, we have to change our selection a bit, but we don't want to do it in this node group, because remember, this is the same node group shared by all these other nodes. So if we change it, it's also going to affect those nodes, and I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is just make the changes before we enter this node group. So what I need is to delete these inner vertices. Now the way I can do that, if I look at this geometry, it looks like this. So to delete these vertices, what I can do, I can use the edge neighbor. What this does, it checks how many faces are connected to an edge. So you can see this edge is connected to this face, and all this is only connected to this face. So if we just compare the face count, and if it's greater than 1, we can delete that geometry. So connect this greater than 1. Let's take a look at this. I want to delete the edges. I can see now we have managed to delete any edges that are connected to more than one face, and that leaves us with this. Now if we pump this in, we should have our side ropes. We can increase the turns and join this to this. Now we have that. We have a rope. I think it should go under. So I can just simply add a set position to offset this down a bit, and all the physics works. Now if you want to break this at some point, again, I'm just going to disable this temporarily. I can just split the vertices using V, so here and here, and if we simulate, you can see that will break those parts. So if we go back, if we bring back our geometry nodes and just take a look at them, you can see what we have. And I think we have too many steps, so I can come here before even, I can come here and just delete every other step. So I can do, so if I look at the index of each node to preview the values, you can just go under your overlays and turn on attribute text. And we want to preview the faces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 44, 46, 67. So you can see the indices don't follow each other in a linear form. So they are random because I deleted a face here and then added it back, and that messed up our indices. So just make sure you don't do that. Otherwise, you're going to have the same problem I'm having here. Now what we can do is delete these even numbers. Now again, we're going to have an issue here because this is even, this is even, this is even. So we're going to be missing like 4 steps here because these are all even numbers. And then we go here and go here. So let's delete these faces and let's connect the index. And to create an even selection, just use a math node with the operation modular, which is just the remainder. So yeah, we, instead of deleting the even, we have remained with even. So you can use a Boolean math here to the operation of none. And yeah, we have this issue. So to fix this, we can see that we have 4, 44, 45, 46, and 43. So here we can split this vertex. So if I select this edge, split this will become an odd number, and then this is an even number. Then we have an even number here. If I split this, yes, I can split this maybe twice. Yeah, so we have an odd number, an even number, odd, even, just like that. And I think here we can also split this. Yeah, so we add another odd number there, and maybe just space these. So now if we bring back our delete, we get that. We still have a lot of gaps here. So these are all odd numbers. So I can select this and this and introduce some. So here, if I split this, I get an odd number here, which is good. I need, so this is even, odd, even, odd. Yeah, I think that reduces that gap. So, and all the physics still works. So that's how you can do that. Now I can connect this here and preview our. So yeah, that's better. Now I want these to be a bit wider, so I'm going to just add another one here, this scale element, and this time use again another single axis. But I think this time it should be the X if you want to make these wider. Again, to split these, to break this apart, just have to split the vertices. So yeah, just like that. I can also do it here. Perfect. Now you can add knots here to make these look tied onto this. So to do that, we just need our vertical ropes, which should be this. Because we have this rope chain, we have already turned this into geometry, into mesh, but we need original curves. So to do that, I can go back into this, and I know I'm going to need these curves to do other things, so I can expose this curve as well. So if I come here, each group now has its curve object. So I can use a join geometry to join these vertical curves back here. And if I look at these, they're inside this, so that's why I can't see them. So now I can turn this into points, curve to points, and you can see my points. And those points I can instance anything on those points, instance on points. So what I want to instance is a few circles, a circle, curve circle. And let me grab some points. That should be points like that. We can use about 3 or 4 and instance on those points some circles, some curved circles, just like that. We don't need that much resolution, and the radius can be just like that. And I can randomize using the random value and randomize the rotation of these so that we have something like that. I can even use a vector math to scale this down so that it's not too random. So something like this, and realize these curves. And now I can turn them into meshes, curved meshes, and just use another curved circle, just like that. And then now I can just bring back the resolution, maybe use about 3, and maybe also randomize the vertical position of these. So I can just use a set position, and on the Z I can use a random, or I can use the index so that these are spread vertically. But I can also just map range, so 3, so that these are spread up a bit, maybe randomize a bit more, and yeah, maybe something like that. So remember, we have these curve points. So if I instance these onto those curve points, instance this onto those curve points, but only let's take a look at everything. Just scale this down. You can see now we have some ropes tied around this. So this so it's like we have ropes, more ropes tied around this, and we also need the rotation of these to be aligned correctly, so we can do that. And if you want, you can keep it like that so that these are ropes connect. I think I really like this look as well, but what I was trying to do is make notes for here. So I can just use an end point selection to select the endpoints of the curves, but I need to do it here. So capture endpoint, connect this here, and just use that as the selection. So if I scale this up, you can see I'm basically tying these. Maybe just increase their thickness a bit. Yeah, I'm creating these knots here that that tie the braid together. So yeah, that's it. You can, if you want collision objects, let me make sure that this is the final preview, final geometry. If you want these to collide with any other object, since this is a cloth simulation, you just have to create a bunch of colliders, and that way you can use them in the simulation as you want. Again, I want to thank everyone who supports me on Patreon, Gumroad, and my YouTube membership page, and anyone who gets my project files. And just a reminder, don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be making the assemble tool using geometry nodes as well. You can use it to assemble anything, any object, and make all the parts fit together with some forces, just like what we are having here. Also, don't forget to check out the other projects we have made on the channel. This is a test render I made for the rope with materials, Thank you. See you in the next video.